Hey guys, this lesson is going to review standard form of a line. The most common form that you probably remember is slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b, but this is the form that you often put your answers in. Okay, so right now this equation is starting in slope-intercept form, and we're going to convert it to standard form. In standard form, you basically have the x term first, then the y term, then the equal sign, and then a constant. And there can be no fractions. So this ax plus by equals c is just the order that we write things, where a is a number in front of the x, b is a number in front of y. No big deal. It's just the x term, y term, the equal sign, and then the constant, and there are no fractions. Okay, so the first thing you're going to do is get rid of the fraction. So the 5 in the denominator here, we're going to get rid of that. In order to do that, we're going to multiply the entire equation by 5. So you're going to squeeze a little 5 out in front of the y, put a 5 in front of the 3 for the 3/5, and a 5 next to the 2. We're going to multiply everything by 5. On the left side, 5 times y is 5y. Bring down my equal sign. Then the 5 with the 3/5, the 5 on the top and the 5 on the bottom cancel each other out, because 5 divided by 5 is 1, and you're just left with the negative 3x. And then we have plus 2 times 5, which is plus 10. So your first step is get rid of the fractions, and you do that by multiplying by whatever the denominator is. If there was more than one denominator, more than one fraction, then you would multiply by the common denominator of both of them. All right, now we need to get the x term on the left next to the y term. So to do that, I'm going to, since this is a negative 3x, I'm going to add 3x to both sides. Now there is a shortcut. You know you can move things from left to right or right to left of the equal sign just by moving it over and changing the sign, and that's basically what we're doing. So the negative 3x and the positive 3x goes away, and now on the left side, these aren't like terms, so we're just going to write them both, but we want it to be in this order, x term first. So I have a positive 3x, a positive 5y since there's no sign in front of it, bring down this equal sign, and bring down the positive 10, and since it's positive, you don't have to write anything. And that's it. This is in standard form. ax plus by equals c, or just x term, y term equal to constant. So that's it. We've changed it into standard form. Now, often you'll do that when they ask you to write the equation of a line, and let's say it's a multiple choice test, and you wrote the equation and you got what we had up here for the original problem. You saw that, you thought that was the answer, and then you go and you look at the multiple choices and they look more like this. This is just often the way you write your final answer. It's called standard form. Okay, so another example. All right, so we're going to do the same thing here. All right, first get rid of the fraction. So multiply everything by 2. Let me get my pen working. Hold on. Okay, so we're going to multiply everything by 2. We're going to multiply the y by 2. We're going to multiply the 1/2 times 2. And we're going to multiply the 3 times 2. They're all multiplied by 2. All right, on the left side of the equation, 2 times y is 2y. Bring down this equal sign. Then we have 2 times 1/2 x. And since we're multiplying by 2 and dividing by 2, the two 2's cancel. And you just get 1 times x, or x. And then positive 3 times 2 is a positive 6. Okay, now remember in standard form, we've got to move this x to the other side. So we're going to do the opposite. It's positive x right now. And we're going to subtract x from both sides, or move it to the left side and change the sign. Okay, so on the left side, I now have a negative x, because I'm going to write the x term first, a positive 2y, bring down my equal sign, and I have a positive 6. Now, that is very possibly the answer, because I do have it in the form of x term plus y term equal to constant, but if the first term is negative, then a lot of books say you don't want the first term to be negative. So if that's not one of the answer choices, the next thing you do is just change all the signs, which is the same as multiplying by -1. So this is a possible answer. And if you don't see that answer, then again, when the first term's negative, multiply everything by -1, and this is a more likely answer. Positive x, -2y, and -6. Okay? So make sure that first term is positive, even though not all books do that. I think that's more common. Okay? And that's pretty much it. Let's see what we have for another example. Is there another example? I don't even think there is, because I think that's all there is to it. So let's see. Next one. Okay, so the next one is even easier. There are no fractions, so we don't have to worry about multiplying by the denominator. That step's done. All I have to do is make sure I move the x term over next to the y term. So I got to move this x over in front of the y, and I do that by doing the opposite. And right now the sign in front of that is a positive 2x, so we're going to subtract 2x on both sides, or again move it to the left and change the sign as the shortcut. Okay, so now what we have is x term first. Remember, it's always x, then the y term, and then the constant. Okay, that's standard form. So we have a -2x, a positive y, bring down the equal sign, and bring down our -1. Now again, the first term is negative, so because the first term is negative, change all the signs, which is the same as multiplying by -1, and I get positive 2x, -y, and a positive 1. And that's it. Easy peasy. All right, I think there's one more. Let me see what I got. Yep, one more. Here we go. All right, it says write the equation in standard form, but the line, you never want to start by writing an equation in standard form. You want to start with what you know and love, which is slope-intercept form, because that's the easiest one to work with. So we're going to start with this form, slope-intercept form. And to use this form, I just need to know what is my m and what is my b. Okay? B is the y-intercept, so on the y-axis, where does my line cross the y-axis? And that looks like it's a positive 3. Right there. I can't seem to ever, somewhere close to that. Okay, so B is 3. And my slope is my rise and my run using any 2 points on the line. So I have my y-intercept I can use as 1 point. And then there's another point right about there. You want to find where the line crosses the corner of a box. So if I count squares, it's up 1 and over 3. Up 1 and over 3 means my slope is positive up 1 and right 3. Now I'm going to erase that so you can see it and count it better, because I know it's hard to see once I write over it. But that slope was up 1 square and right 3. Always double check, because the most common mistake is the sign. This is an uphill line, so it should be a positive slope. Okay, now put it together with my equation. The equation of this line would be y equals 1/3 x plus 3. Now, if they didn't specify what form to write the answer in, that's a perfectly good equation of the line. But the directions here say to write it in standard form. So I have to get rid of the fraction and move the x to the other side. So to get rid of the fraction, multiply by the denominator, multiply everything by 3. So multiply by 3 here, multiply by 3 here, and multiply by 3 here. Okay? 3 times y is 3y. Bring down my equal sign. For the x term, I have 3 times 1/3 x. You're multiplying by 3 and you're dividing by 3, so those cancel, and you get 1x, or just x. And then 3 times 3 is 9. Okay? Move the x term to the other side, so you can move it over and make it negative if you want to, or do the opposite. This is a positive x, so I'm going to subtract x on both sides. And I get negative x plus 3y equals 9. Okay, but now the first term is negative, so one last step that you don't always have to do, it's only if the first term is negative. Change all the signs so we get positive x, negative 3y, and a negative 9. And that's it. It's all review, so hopefully you guys are doing okay. Good luck with your assignment. Hope you're doing well. Bye.